shooting the shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Your host BT and all his guests. You'll never know who he'll have next. Shooting the shiznit, shooting the shiznit. Best little wrestling podcast in the business. Shooting the shiznit.
All right, we're live from Jonesboro, Arkansas, STS Studios. We're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube Live, we're on Twitter Live, and I am with the one and only, my future co-host, starting Saturday, RYNOJB. How the hell are you, Rhino?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fired up about this. This is, I want to tell you, you don't know how I got in touch with you. You know it has something to do with Dustin. I'll tell you that story and how you become my co-host and how he recommended you and everything. And
I would love to hear it.
This is actually the first time that me and you have sat down and face-to-face conversation. We've been texting and talking and all that. But I think we're going to spend a lot of time together on Saturday afternoons for the next, let's hope many years, man.
Yes. Many.
And guys,
Forever.
I want y'all to listen to that voice. That is a radio voice, guys, a podcast voice, a Twitch voice. That is a voice, man. I love it.
Oh, man, I appreciate that.
What we need to start with is I want to start all the way back to when you was a kid. You're much younger than me. You know, I'm an oldie but goodie. But you're younger than me. You sent me a little message and said, "Hey, you know, I just wanted to give you kind of my wrestling history," and you talked a little bit about it. So let's start when did you first become a fan of professional wrestling?
Oh man, when I first became a fan, I was watching at my grandmother's house. It had to have been 1992. And I was a fan of Bret the Hitman Hart at first, of Bret Hart, and it was something about when he was on screen, wrestling seemed to be very on point. Is the best way I could put it. That's the way I thought of it at that age. It just seemed to be very on point, and I became a fan of watching his matches. I didn't really know anything about the guy. I didn't know his background. I didn't know anything about wrestling. I knew he was the only guy to wear pink, and I thought it was really cool. He was the only guy, you know, as a kid. I was like, I've never seen anyone wear pink because, you know, the Power Rangers had their colors, and the girl wore pink.
Right. Yeah.
Wore pink, and it was badass. And he had the black leather jacket and the shades. I thought he was really cool. And it had to be around 92, but shortly after I became, ironically, a huge fan of Shawn Michaels, because as a child, I now that I'm older, I recognize as a child I liked his childish behavior. When he came, you know, that's what I related to. It had to have been, but I enjoyed watching him wrestle as well. I enjoyed. I'll never forget that match where the boyhood dream came true. That was a very monumental moment for me, but that was much after. But for me, it had to have started in 92.
Wow. Well, see, I started watching it in 1978. So there tells you.
Oh,
so,
wow.
92, and Shawn Michaels being one of your favorite wrestlers. Now, you're talking about the internet boom was there, right? You could go on the internet pages and look at stuff. Was that?
Not in 92.
Not in 92. Not yet. Okay. Mm-mm. When did you start getting on the web pages and getting all the news and stuff?
I honestly never did.
Oh, wow.
My cousins would get the magazines sent in every now and then, and we kind of go over that stuff. But for me, I realized very quickly that I'm a fan of the show. And I wasn't really interested in what was happening backstage or what the plans were. I just wanted to tune in and watch. I just wanted to see what was going to happen. Around that time, you had Monday Night Raw. It was uncut, uncensored, and something. I can't remember the rest. But that was coming on. And so I fell in love with this idea of, you get to watch it live. I just wanted to watch the next episode and the next episode and the next episode. So I never got on the internet and looked at things online about what was going to happen next or what to expect. I never wanted to know what to expect besides what they told us on the past episode. So I've always watched it.
Wow,
like that.
that's awesome because that was the opposite of me. Like as soon as I told you right before we got started.
Right.
I've been kayfabe sheets since I think '86,
Right.
and I know everyone's gonna laugh at me when I ask you if he's on the internet in 1992. Guys, I'm horrible with years.
Oh,
I know I'm horrible with years, but
it all runs together.
Yeah,
it all runs together.
But you never just wanted to know because I've sat and listened to some of your commentary, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. You seem to be just this huge fan, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But Mark. What is? Yeah, well, I didn't say that. You freaking Mark. No,
I do. I the biggest Mark besides Mark Henry.
Hey, it's okay, bro. It's okay.
We're
all Marks. Why am I doing this podcast? I'm a huge Mark, and I'm a Mark for a bunch of other stuff in the world. And if you pay money to do stuff and become a fan of something, you are a Mark. The term is bad because it comes from Carney. The word Mark was a fool. A fool's born every day, as P.T. Barnum used to say. But it's not. It's not a bad term anymore. I don't think it is. But you did you ever say show me how or let me learn how they do this, or I know it's not on the up and up, I want to know, or did you just keep doing this thing where do you look at movie spoilers or anything like that?
No, I don't. I was at a very young age. My father is a lawyer, and he at one of his office buildings, he was in the same elevator with. I think if I remember correctly, there was a rivalry between Jerry Lawler and Sid Vicious. Okay. And he was in the elevator with the two of them, and they were talking about getting lunch. But he had just seen them go to war on the show, and that's how he realized, apparently, like, oh, okay, the whole thing is staged. These guys are best friends and everything. And he explained that to me at a very young age, that what I was watching wasn't necessarily quote unquote real, that it was scripted and choreographed. And so from very, very early on, there was never really a moment to me where I felt like I was watching a real fight. I also grew up in an area where real fights happen all the time. So to me, the wrestling seemed like, oh man, if I was going to watch anyone fight, I would rather them fight like this because the other stuff was so, God, scary and just.
That's what I was going to say. Tell everybody where me and you, we're going to have the same slang. We're going to have the same accent. Your voice is a little bit more, what am I say, normal than me, but we grew up in the same area. We know what Maine is. A Maine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Maine.
Do you remember the movie Hustle and Flow? It was a film there in Memphis. I had a friend of mine tell me, well, does people in Memphis really talk like that? And I just cracked up. I was like, yeah, that's the way everybody in this area talks like that. That's just the way we talk,
For sure.
But Memphis has always been, I don't know. My dad used to say when I went to wrestling down there, and it goes right along with what you just said, you're going to go down there and get yourself killed.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to start too much trouble in Memphis. Not a place.
I mean, it wasn't like we were going to have car trouble. It wasn't like I was going to break my leg or someone was. And then he would tell me, don't take drugs from anyone in Memphis. Like I was, walking around asking people for drugs. So I don't know. That's he hated me going to wrestling in Memphis. Memphis being such a big wrestling town.
Yep.
Did you at any point just start watching the old Memphis tapes or anything like that? Did you say, okay, Memphis wrestling is a big deal in the history of professional wrestling?
My grandmother, my father's mother, actually was a very, very big Memphis wrestling fan.
Oh, wow.
So she actually got me into it. The reason why I started watching so early, in 92, I was about 5 years old. And the reason why was because I would stay at her place a lot then. And she always watched wrestling. If wrestling was on, it didn't matter what it was. That's what we were watching. Didn't matter if anything else was on. If any other, it didn't matter. If wrestling was on, we're watching wrestling. And I remember she put on a wrestling program that didn't look like what I was accustomed to at the time, and that was WWF and and WCW, I believe. It might have been something else at the time. But I remember watching these major promotions, and then she put on another promotion that the production didn't look the same, and they were saying Memphis a lot. And she explained, this is Memphis wrestling. This is the best wrestling. And she made it very clear, this is the best. She absolutely loved it. And watching her, I fell in love with the Memphis wrestling. And I grew up watching it with her. There was a lot of things I barely can remember because I was so young at the time. But a lot of that resonated with me. And I tried to keep up with that the best I could. But yeah, I tried to watch it as it was happening.
And you understood how important it really was in this area about men. Like I tell the story. We grew up. When we grew up, we didn't. You talked about the Power Rangers. The Power Rangers was right. Them and the Turtles is not. I mean, I watched them, but I was too old to watch them. Really, I shouldn't have been watching them. But we grew up. We were Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee on the playground. That's what it meant. And you was talking about your grandmother. I watched wrestling with an older gentleman and his mom for about 3 years, and they were so funny. But you know what he always told me? That Memphis wrestling was real, but the WWE and WCW wasn't. So there you go. You didn't know that, did you?
Right? No. I thought it was, though, because I'll never forget was it Jerry Lawler getting hit by the car?
Right. Eddie Gill. Yeah, we just talked me and a friend of mine just talked about that.
That spot. I think everyone started losing their mind when they saw that, but that made me think it was real. I mean, I just saw this man get hit by a car. I just saw it.
It is one of those things where I told my buddy last night, shout out to Bull, my buddy Bull. He called me on January the 31st, and I returned his phone call last night. So, yeah, I'm timely. I just want you to know that. But I told him I want to hear the conversation that Lawler had with Eddie Gilbert, the conversation Eddie Gilbert had with Lawler. I want to run over you.
How do you agree to this?
How do you decide that that's okay to do?
When do you say, yeah, that's a good idea? Well, let's do it.
I would love to hear that. And I've seen a couple of things, where Doug talks about it. It was he takes a little credit for it, so it may have been a little bit more Doug's idea than it was anybody's. Guys, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, on my personal Facebook Live, we're going off that. Stay on the Shooting the Shiznit page. You can watch it from YouTube there, or you can watch it on YouTube. And I'm going to kick Twitter going too, because you got a good Twitter following. We're going off my personal Facebook. All right, guys, going to a commercial break, and we'll be right back with RYNOJB. We're going to talk about twitching. We're talking about twitching. Look, it's just like I have no terminology when it comes to Twitch. So here we go. We're going to talk about Twitch, and we'll be right back. We're going to listen to our sponsors for a few minutes here. All right, back from commercials. We're back with RYNOJB. I'm going to tell you the story. So August of last year. I reach out to Dustin and I say, look, I got this idea. Dustin's already told me we're doing championship wrestling for Memphis. Don't say anything. Kayfabe it to everybody. Here's my plan. What do you think? Kind of thing. So we were talking about this I guess we've probably been talking about it for about a year before he announced it. So me and him were talking back and forth, and he says, and I say to him, look, I want to do a Memphis show and review your show, but I need somebody local. And he says, man, I don't know. I said, and then he said, let me think about it. He rattled off a couple of names, and you were one of the names, and he had sent it in August of last year. And then I reached back out to him when he said, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to do it now. And I was like, all right, who was that? Because I'd already deleted the messages. He sent it to me. So that's how we got together. Dustin's a big friend of yours, as he is of mine. I've known Dustin since I think I was there on his debut match. So we've been friends for a long time. I'm excited. I'm excited for me and you. being part of this. People don't understand how big of a mark I am when it comes to Memphis wrestling, and just the idea of, I guess they do if they listen all the time. It's just first time. Memphis wrestling means a lot to me, and to be able to be part of something like this. Before we get into your Twitch stuff, I want everyone to know that you was there live. Okay.
Yeah.
You saw the tapings, and you didn't send me any spoilers, and you're going to review it as we see the TV show, not the live show. But I have a question about the live show. Do you think that the crowd was real responsive to what was going on?
Maybe a little too responsive.
Oh, really?
Maybe a little too responsive. Yeah.
Wow.
As you said earlier, we're in Memphis. And Memphis has its own slang. Memphis has its own way of handling things. I am very interested.
They didn't start the chant "whip that trick," did they?
No, to my surprise, no, it did not happen. You know what? I'm going to start it next time.
Whip that trick, or there it is.
Right.
Or who's talking about whooping them or something like that. So there you go. There's Memphis, Tennessee there for you. But yeah, hey, good deal. I can't wait. You know, the thing about Memphis wrestling as a kid, I got to go down there to some of the TV tapings, and you're going to laugh when I tell you how I went. We had, me and my best friend Lynn convinced the church group that so a church group would take us to go see live wrestling being taped. Who would ever think that the Baptist Church, Still, Missouri, they did it. They took us to watch violence. And
wow.
we went a lot. And then when me and Lynn got old enough, we would stay in Memphis with his brother, and his brother would just drop us off. You know, he didn't want us driving in Memphis. That's one of the big things too. Don't drive in Memphis when we were kids. And so we spent a lot of time going to the show there. The crowd was so noisy and so rambunctious. They loved the talent. So I'm hoping, and so you're telling me I'm not going to be disappointed, huh?
I don't think so. I expect the crowd to be loud.
Oh man, great. I'm fantastic. I'm love the loud crowd and see what's going on. And before I make a decision on who I thought the most over was, kind of cue me in. You don't have to tell me any spoilers, but who do you think got the biggest reaction down there?
Oh, I think that's a toss-up, in all honesty.
All right,
I think that's a toss-up. But I think who got the biggest response, maybe not the loudest, but I mean, people were responding, at least from what I could see, the Crowleys.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to see them. They're not on the first show. I just saw a listing of the first show.
The Crowleys.
I should have grabbed it up and put it up there and scrolled it, but I did not get to see the Crowleys. I have been watching those kids for so long. They were always good workers, but so small, and they've gained a little bit of weight. And they got a hell of a gimmick. Oh man, a hell of a gimmick.
Hell of a gimmick.
I can't wait to see it. So talk to me about Twitch, man. Talk to the old man about Twitch. What got you started on Twitch? Why pick Twitch instead of, and we talked about it on Patreon, but you can talk about it here to regular listeners. Why Twitch? Why not podcasting? Why not go on YouTube? Why Twitch?
That's a very good question. I got on Twitch. I actually was involved in a car accident about 7 to 8 years ago. And it was a pretty nasty car accident. It left me immobile for a while. And during my recovery from that car accident, I couldn't walk, or I had to learn how to walk all over again. And so my little brother, we were trying to find things for me to do, and he suggested Twitch. And I checked it out. I thought it was really weird. I didn't get it at first. I was like, why don't you just play the game yourself? Why are you watching somebody else play this game? It didn't make sense to me. So after I decided to give it a week of watching him and watching him watch other people and watching him support these people and why he was supporting, and watching the chat rooms and just seeing the platform kind of do what it does. Somewhere down the line, I said, okay, I would like to talk with wrestling fans over Twitch. And so I just decided to start streaming wrestling content on Twitch back in 2015, 16, and created something called the Interactive Universe at the time, but it's an interactive experience where you allow viewers to choose a wrestler and you keep up with their wins and losses as if you were watching the real thing. And the rest is history. The rest is history.
And you say that because I go on there and I see these people and I don't know, are these, so you explain something to me here, okay?
Okay.
So is there real people playing against each other? Is that what they're doing?
No, so what they're doing is it's real people in the chat room claiming the wrestlers, but the wrestlers are fighting through a simulation. So it's computer versus computer. However, each viewer can edit their wrestler, they can max out their stats, they can change their teammates, their which faction they're in, who they get help from, their managers. They can edit all sorts of different stats to have their wrestler be exactly how they want them to be. They can even include created wrestlers. So if they wanted to add themselves to the game, they could do that too.
We got to get to BT Express. See, you don't know this, but I wrestled for about 18 matches. I sucked totally, but I do have a character at the BT Express.
Oh yeah, no. You wrestled, and I believe was a manager as well.
I was Coach BT. I was a manager.
All right.
The last incarnation of it was I was dressed like a college football coach, and I used a clipboard. A clipboard was my gimmick. I hit you with the clipboard, and they pinned you. So,
you got to you got to sue Arn Anderson, man. You got to get him.
Yeah, I know somebody used the clipboard on something, and Lance would always mess me up, gimmick infringement. So Twitch, you got this going on, and you have. I come into the room and you weren't. It was one of the and if I'm going to explain this to the old parts that's listen to this, including myself. You can go onto Twitch and you can watch any video game you want to watch. But I came into your room and I want to tell you, I felt the same way you did. Why the hell is anyone going to watch somebody play a video game?
Right.
And why are they going to pay somebody? Because you make money doing it. And what the hell's going on here? So I'm a huge Madden fan. We have
Madden coming up.
I started watching a long time ago. I would just go on and watch, this guy did this guy did that. And I started watching Madden and them playing the tournament and all that. But then I went into your room. These were all past stuff, just to check you out because I wanted to hear your voice. And I'm sitting there watching you, and you've got all this stuff going on. You're talking, you're having a good time. You had a drink. And it looked like it was, I don't think it was Coca-Cola. It might have had something else in it, but she was having a good time. And I was like, this guy likes to have a good time. We're going to have a fantastic podcast, blah, blah, blah. And I text Dustin and said, man, he is fun. But I came in, was it last Saturday? It wasn't last Saturday. It may have been 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago. I walk in, you're live. These people in this room are just nuts. They're so fun to be around. They're popping stuff down in the room. You start making sounds, and you start saying it's BT, blah, blah, blah. I had some guy pay for my subscription to your channel for a month.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, wait. What just happened? And I was like, this is a lot of fun. And I could see where it is one of those things where you have to, I remember telling my buddy, Brian Thompson, he was talking, he said, you got to get your stuff on YouTube. You got to just put clips up. And I said, I could do it to a certain extent, but you got to concentrate on something. So we spent almost 4 years concentrating just on that, on the podcast. And like you said, well, Twitch, I'm not going to have time to do put it up as a podcast. You have to decide what do you really want to do? What do you want to do with it? And Twitch is and that's something I've looked at it. I really like the way it's done. I've seen some of the wrestling people do it. It's one of those things where, and I've told you and Lance this, I told you this off air or during Patreon, our next step in this is, a live show. It's Lance and BT. It's BT and Rhino doing a live show in Memphis somewhere talking about wrestling and having fun.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things where you can do crossovers. You like, I'm gonna try to get on your Twitch channel somehow. You're gonna come and do some other stuff with us.
For
We do
sure.
all kinds of shows. I just wanted, and I think we have. I think we've introduced you. One of the main things is I wanted to bring you, and I've got listeners that listen to everything, and all of a sudden you were just gonna pop up Saturday doing a show with me. I wanted them to know who you were, what you
Right.
were about, and hear that smooth voice. So what I want to know is, why didn't you ever get a job as a DJ on late night Memphis channel? So go ahead, give me a Memphis Motown music. What's coming up next on Motown music?
Oh my! I wish I knew how to. I wish I knew how to do it like that. It's just, I've been told my entire life that I have this voice and it's perfect for radio and it's perfect for DJing. I've never. I promise you, I've never. I don't try to. When
That's
talking
you
to my
talking.
girlfriend,
It's the same thing
it's
with
me.
me. My voice
It's me.
carries. I don't ever have to have a microphone if I'm in a building. I remember I did a seminar one time, and they said, "Here, you want the microphone?" And there was only 20 people in the room, and I said, "No, you're not gonna need a microphone." And then I have my buddies over at Who's Right. They said, "Man, we love your voice." And then we have Lance has a smooth. I tell him he has a smooth Chicago voice. I'm covering the southern northeast Arkansas voice, and then you'll get the Memphis voice, and we're going to be doing it together.
There
I
we
think
go.
this says rolling into Memphis. Oh, I misspelled that because it's not.
Oh, Mempho.
This Saturday, guys, me and RYNOJB, what we're going to be doing, if you've ever listened to our show Dynamite, that's not Dynamite, it's Dynamite, JJ Walker. If you've listened to that show, you know what me and P3 Radio do. What we do is and we'll change it around a little bit. It's going to be the hits, the misses, the most valuable player. What are we looking forward to next week? And we're going to tell you thumbs up or thumbs down. And I'm going to be honest with you. Both of us are friends with Dustin. We're close with the promotion, blah, blah, blah. But we have warned Dustin, and Dustin has told us, if it looks like crap, we're going to say it looks like crap. So get ready, guys. It's going to be an honest thing every Saturday, not just this Saturday, but every Saturday we will be there. And soon to be, we'll do a live show there with them, hopefully, when the COVID gets done. What I want you to do right now, we're gonna wrap it up. I need you to tell everyone how to follow you, how to get your Twitch channel, all that stuff.
Well, the best way to keep up with me on Twitch would be twitch.tv/RYNOJB. And even going to RYNOJB.com, you'll find my Twitch channel, you'll find my social media, which gets a little bit tricky. If you want to find me on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Ryan J. Barber. And everything else, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, RYNOJB.
All right, guys, same bat time, same bat channel. On the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, and now RYNOJB is going to know, I love my mama.
I love my mama, too.
All right, we're going to get off of these. We'll continue to record because I want you to listen to something. And everyone on Patreon, you guys can just stick with us. You'll get to hear something that nobody